My name is Paul Woodcock, and I'm a volunteer with North Cascades Audubon as well as Wings Over Water. And we're here at Birch Bay State Park today to, well, check out the beach, but also to do some birding up in the forest land, because that's my particular interest here. In fact, I like forest birding for songbirds probably more than I do looking at marine birds, but when you're here in the Pacific Northwest, you gotta like the marine birds too, so I enjoy that. So I'm also with one of my Audubon partners here, Pam Borso, who is the education chair of North Cascades Audubon, and a group of ardent birders here, and we're gonna get out and we're gonna see what we can find, first on the beach and then up in the woodlands of Birch Bay State Park. Well, we got a group of glaucous-winged gulls here on the beach. Okay, hey, that's cool. Common loon right out here. It looks like a tugboat out there. Oh, I see. Yeah, here we got some more. A bufflehead and, yes, as Pam said, a couple buffleheads. Well, it's getting to be springtime. We certainly got better weather here today than we had at Semiahmoo last week, 2 weeks ago. Surf scoters out here. Now, a good bunch of surf scoters scattered along. Common goldeneyes. Well, one common goldeneye. We got a lot of surf scoters and buffleheads. What'd you say, Pam?
2 loons out there.
Okay.
If you get that gull doing that, that's great. One of the ways to manage their food.
Now, so down here there's a lot of surf scoters and also one horned grebe mixed in. So out here there's some pairs of buffleheads and common goldeneyes, and I've been seeing the buffleheads actually doing bill pointing, where they flip their heads back and point their bills up, which means that they're getting into breeding. It's getting into breeding season. So it's that time of year. Spring's coming on, and you see them do it, and you see the very closely related goldeneyes doing the same thing. Oh. Pam, what did you see that gull doing a little bit ago? What was that?
There was a gull out here that was picking up a bivalve, going up into the air and then dropping it onto the rock. Mm-hmm. You want to talk some more about that?
Yeah. Well, they've learned to use tools, basically, which is all the rocky beach here, and they take the clams up into the air and drop them, so they smash open and they can get the meat out.
Yeah, and they do that on
yeah.
boats.
They'll drop it on trails and roads and
Cars,
wait for the cars to smash them. Yeah.
Smash 'em, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Unlike the scoters that are out here that can swallow those bivalves whole, they have to get the shell cracked open so they can get after what's inside.
So I think maybe it might be time to take a walk down the beach this way and see what we can find over a little bit farther away.
Ago. The winter storms have brought this stuff up, and of course the woody debris here. It overtopped all of this.
It did, yeah. They were on the road, as a matter of fact.
And so
Let's go.
A good idea.
So, if you look around here, you notice all of these logs. Oh, hey, there's a couple of killdeers running down the beach. So we got some some shorebirds here. killdeers are some beautiful plovers. Very nice. Oh, there's another one right, oh, close by, right here. Third killdeer. Oh, goodness, we almost got hit by a clam. We're getting dive bombed. That's a good sized one too. So if you see all this woody debris, all these logs and things, all of these have been blown up this winter by storms. In fact, there was one somewhere not long after the first of the year where all the logs and other detritus were basically scattered on the road, and they had to come and scrape the road down. So we had a pretty stormy winter. I'm glad it settled in today a little bit. We got a nice, pleasant day. So here at the Birch Bay State Park beach, we're of course on Birch Bay. We're a little further south of the border than we were up at Semiahmoo. So we look across Birch Bay, and that's Birch Point. And to the right here is the community of Birch Bay, where they're working on the berm project down here on the waterfront. Actually, looking across out at, well, the Straits of Georgia out here, Boundary Bay is off to the right, and you can see Point Roberts. And looking this way, you can see some of the Gulf Islands of Canada. Well, I don't see much more in the way of bird activity down here, so I think it's time for us to go hit the woods. I'm excited about that part. So we're gonna take a walk up here into the wooded part of the park and look for songbirds and maybe some woodpeckers. Whatever else we see. Well, the owls. Yeah, the barred owls up here in the woods, and see what we can find. But this morning, right in this stretch along the creek, this is along Terrell Creek, Wayne saw a couple of pileated woodpeckers right here, and sadly they're not here for us to get on film right now, but we'll hopefully maybe able to find some up in the woods. So, but I'd like to talk a little bit about Terrell Creek here. The creek parallels the shoreline, and actually it's a great place to come and look for ducks. There's a lot of mallards down here further on down. I saw them when we were coming in this morning. I can't see any from here right now, but this is a good spot to find hooded mergansers. Nice quiet water right by the, and great blue herons, that's absolutely correct. Well, there was a couple of days ago I was here, and there was a great blue sitting right down in here alongside of the bridge. And in the brush here along the creek, I found a hermit thrush, which is a wintering bird that we get here occasionally, staying around for the winter from the interior of the state or further north. Nothing in sight right now here, but, well, let's head on up into the park. Hey, I'm hearing some birds up here in the trees. What do we got? Oh, golden crowned kinglets. Yes, okay, I hear them now. So kinglets are here in the forest a lot, one of our more common birds, but they like to spend their time up in the tops of coniferous trees. We often don't see them. You might hear their sounds though, this little tee, very soft. And occasionally they come down and join us here down at ground level. So one of the things about walking in the forest and field tripping in the forest is actually a lot of things are heard and not seen. So being quiet and listening, moving quietly through the forest is important to actually spot the birds. So let's move ahead and find out what we can locate. Wayne's been spending a lot of time here looking for owls, and we're hoping we can find the barred owls over here in the backside of the closed part of the campground. So we're going to take a loop through there, and then go up and hike one of the nature trails up here. So down to Terrell Creek. So it should be good.
Another thing we should find is the sapsuckers.
And we
quite a few of them.
We did the last time we were here. Good, thank you. Let's look. So, and listen. That's important.
I was trying to find a sapsucker. I saw one yesterday.
In this spot, okay. Yeah, well, when we saw that owl, we were looking for the sapsucker, and there was the owl sitting in the same.
I didn't know what
So,
I was doing, but now you said it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, chickadees. I'm not sure if they were chestnut-backed or they were black-capped. Okay, cool.
So how do you know the difference by hearing them?
Well, the black-capped has the classic chickadee-dee-dee song.
Okay, that's
And
the black cap.
Yes, the black-capped. The other one is much more abbreviated, and I wouldn't want to try to imitate it, but there's a lot of
back. How I tell them apart is it goes chicka 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 D, but the black cap goes chicka dee 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 chicka dee dee dee.
Yeah,
So they're kind of
Chicka.
so it's mostly chicka.
it's very much less musical.
Right.
I mean, and it's really quite a different sound. And I'm hearing kinglets again here too. So the kinglets are probably all over this forest. The other thing to look for on the ground is winter wrens. So I mean, excuse me, Pacific wrens.
Red.
And with the kinglets, for me, if they're on the edge of hurting my ears, that's how I know it's a kinglet. It's so high pitched that it hurts my ears.
It's yeah. There's probably a lot of that song that we don't even hear actually, because it's so high pitched. Your hearing must be better than mine. Okay, that was a brown creeper that just sang. Hopefully we'll spot one of those guys. Brown creepers just spend their time cleaning the bark, looking through the cracks in the bark, and you'll see them climbing up trees, creeping straight up.
They creep up the tree.
And then they fly down to the bottom of the next tree and go up again and just go on like that, scouring the trees. There's a whole flock of juncos just crossed the road across in front of us here. They're still going. This time of year we get big flocks of juncos moving through the forest, often with other birds with them, like chickadees. And okay, I heard something else here. What do we got? Juncos down on the pavement here, moving. They're still moving through. And I'm still hearing brown creepers, so there must be creepers moving with this flock too. So in winter, a lot of birds actually. There's strength in numbers. As far as predators are concerned, it's better to move with the group. So mixed flocks of birds move together through the forest. Yeah, you can hear the twittering of the juncos. This is a dark-eyed junco, actually is the official name. Often, who we have up here, let's see. It's still going up. So it's also searching through the bark to see what it can find. And sometimes in these flocks we get downy woodpeckers. Haven't seen a chestnut-backed chickadee or heard one yet. Song sparrows singing in here. Let's see if it sings again. Let's listen. Probably scared everything away. But what it does, that brings, yeah, it did. That song sparrow came right up. He's singing right here. Some of our more territorial species really react to what's called pishing, when birders make some sounds that sound like really alarm notes. Song sparrows just singing away. So there's kinglets singing in here again. If you listen, you can hear the little, there, just like that, the little C, just these little buzzy notes. That's our Buick's wren again, right down there. Or another one. On this little alder leaning out across the road, there's a brown creeper going up it. You can see it silhouetted against this on the right side, up about 20 feet. And that's its little, there it is, going up. With an airplane in the background.
Yeah. Big bird.
Look for movement, I always say. Well, wait, don't follow that airplane though. Okay, now our Buick's wren is making all those chipping notes back here. They get excited. Quite an excitable bird. We got another varied thrush up here. Just really, really pretty. Going up. A lot of bird activity right here. Especially chickadees up top. Well, that's these are black-capped chickadees. Oh, wait. Yes, I guess they are. Again, looking up toward the sky, it's pretty hard to get the coloration. No, that's a chestnutback. That's cool. A good look at a chestnutback chickadee. Well, just around the corner here, there's parking lots, and then we'll come back through the campsites. Then they're closed campsites, so it's actually a good place to be walking at this time of year. It'd be nice to run into some red crossbills or something up here in the tops of the trees, wouldn't it? I mean, some winters there's a lot of them around, but there haven't been this year. The siskins have certainly been around this year, though. Lots of pine siskins. If you want good looks at varied thrushes, there's a couple of them down on the ground here. I noticed them throwing the leaves around. There's one that just came up off the ground.
A couple of ravens overhead.
Yeah, that's nice. Ravens. Yeah.
Why are they throwing the leaves?
Well, they're probably looking for things to eat under the leaves, so they'll get in there and stir things around. There's
ground feeder. And there are lots of moth and butterfly larvae
eggs.
that winter in the leaves and the
Bird call that I wasn't familiar with.
What did it sound like? Was it? I just heard a little trill. Was that it? Was it?
It wasn't a trill. It's more like a yip.
Oh, was it raven? Was it the raven calls?
Oh, I bet that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Now the ravens are sort of barking. Yeah.
Yeah, a little barking. Okay.
I love the sounds the ravens make, and it's an endless variety. There's a lot of talking going on there, a lot of language. So just a moment ago, as we were walking up, a spotted towhee flew across this trail here. I'm hoping we can get a better look at it. But I hear song sparrows singing here. So we're going to head back up and look for our owl here. So now we're going to take a little walk down this nature trail going down to Terrell Creek. It's a good spot. Still looking for that barred owl that we've been expecting to see today, hoping to see. And we'll just probably see some of the same species, but maybe we can find some we've been missing. So we'll head on down the trail. I hear a Pacific wren in here again. Right here. Pacific wren's one of our more common birds in this heavily forested areas, especially when there's sword ferns and a lot of stumps and down logs. So he's right here. There's a Pacific wren singing over here. I hope he sings again. Really, now we're getting into the season where we'll be hearing them, and pretty soon the forest will be alive with those sounds. I mean, there's probably hundreds of them in various territories right around us here in this forest, especially here. Yep. So that's a very cool song. So here we got a real sign of spring. Skunk cabbage coming up, looking good. So we're coming out here now to the marsh here by Terrell Creek, or the end of Terrell Creek, where it comes down to the water. If we're lucky, we might be able to hear some marsh wrens here. Maybe see them. There's a couple Canada geese sitting right out here in the marsh. Not exactly a trophy bird these days, but always cool to see them in the wild. Not in the park. Well, we are in a park, but a lot of song sparrows calling. I hear a mallard quack. I'm going to listen to see if we can hear some of the other marsh dwellers. I thought there'd be red-winged blackbirds here, and definitely marsh wrens.
Horizontal.
I got one brown creeper. You say there's another? Okay. Going up that alder. That's a brown. That was a brown creeper call. Yes. Yeah. It's what 5. It's 5 to 7 notes. Just kind of going up the scale. Where? That's a good bird.
Yeah.
That's a good addition to the day. So this is the time of year when they start singing. They're a resident bird. Oh, I'm seeing it there. I think it's a Hutton's vireo.
Oh, I think you're right.
It's a Hutton's vireo.
Yep.
That's a good bird.
Yep.
That's a good addition to the day. So this is the time of year when they start singing, because they're a resident bird, so they're on a path to mating and building a nest here in the next month or so. So get into February and the sun starts shining on the cedars and they start singing. And usually in cedar trees.
Where's he at?
Well, he came out of that alder.
Over there.
He's singing over there.
Hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you're looking.
He's singing just a slight bit different
There he
than they usually do.
He's right up in
Yeah, he's in
this cedar here.
in this second cedar there on the left side. Ooh, now you can see him against the sky.
Yeah, there he is. Now he's
Well, we're going to check out a section of Terrell Creek here. I know I saw some mallards on our way in this morning, and I'm hoping that maybe we can find at least some other kinds of dabbling ducks. I actually really want to see a hooded merganser. Okay, we got at least 2 golden crowned sparrows here along the road. Nice Pacific Northwest specialty. So the mallards are back. They just flew in. There's two pair here. Yep. So this morning they were sitting here. Obviously, they've got some territory staked out here because they were sitting in pairs, probably thinking about this being home for the summer. I'd stay here.
And normally you can see hooded mergansers, green-winged teal maybe, great blue herons.
Herons especially here.
Here.
Yeah, I thought.
Don't see any today, but they are here quite often.
I'm still hearing that towhee over there though. So there's a spotted towhee somewhere right across the creek.
Sort of like a cat.
I left my camera in the car.
Here, Wayne, take a look. Don't get your eye too close. I should have the eyepiece further up so that.
That's a beautiful pair.
Isn't it?
They nest over here at White Rock.
You recognize them?
Really?
Yeah.
Here, let me turn the eyepiece up. It'll make it be better for
Right
you.
on. I said right.
Then you can put your eye right
I
down.
didn't mean wrong.
They just look.
Finally, we found a group of green-winged teals here on Terrell Creek. And now where did they go? They went around the corner, but we had about four green-winged teal.
So about green-winged teal, are they here? Do they migrate through here? Or are they here all year
Well,
round?
they do both, but
They do?
they are here. They are here all year round. I mean, I've seen them. They nest in our area, but I think a lot of them probably migrate further north. But mainly, I think I see numbers when they're wintering here. You know, on wintering grounds, the mud flats. They like muddy, shallow, fresher brackish water, mostly fresh water.
So that's probably why they like it.
That's why they're here. Yep. Freshwater Creek.
Check that.
Okay, well, I think we've seen about all we're going to see here, so let's head back to the parking lot. Well, thanks for being part of our field trip today. If you're with us, or even if you're watching at home, thanks for your interest in Wings Over Water. Come on back up sometime to our area, the Pacific Northwest. Check out Birch Bay State Park and all the other good birding areas around here. This park is great when the warblers are migrating, so you might come and see some great birds you've never seen before. Thank you very much. Well, hello out there to all the viewers interested in Birch Bay birding. Thanks so much for being with us today. We had a great day. It was about 3 weeks ago. Actually, it was 3 weeks ago on Saturday that we did this field trip. We had a good group of people. We had good weather, but frankly, I was a bit disappointed because we didn't see a lot of the birds that we knew were around. So I'm glad that we were able to talk about them, and that Dan was able to show you what they look like. But we still had a great day of birding. So I would just like to open this up to any questions that the viewers might have. And again, thanks for your interest.
Paul, I've got a question.
Yes.
We have a viewer that's asking, how can we be alerted when the monthly bird walks resume?
Well, I don't know if they'll be getting going this spring. It depends on how things improve, COVID wise. But if we, maybe when during May, if conditions are better, we might be able to do some field trips. I would watch, well, locally here, watch our North Cascades Audubon Society website. Check out our newsletter, which is online on our website. And we'll announce when we're getting going again with field trips. I'm looking forward to being able to get started, and particularly in the fall. We usually don't lead field trips through the summer. Maybe that's a possibility, at least at Semiahmoo, if conditions get better. But we should be, I'm very hopeful that we'll be having regular field trips again in the fall.
Okay, next question. When are warblers in Birch Bay State Park?
Okay, well, even now at this time of year, you might be able to see orange-crowned warblers there. We didn't see any in my last few visits there, but they could be around in wintertime. But basically, end of April, starting in May, we'll start seeing migrating warblers, common yellowthroats, Wilson's warblers, eventually Townsend's warblers, black-throated gray warblers, and I'm probably missing one or two, but those are the common ones that we can see there. And it's yeah, I invite you to come out and bird, but you can find them really in any wooded area in migration here along the coastline. So check it out.
Okay. Another question is, what's the best time to see lots of loons, and what is a good park for viewing them?
Well, this should be a good time for seeing lots of loons. We have wintering loons here, especially common loons, and then when migration starts, which should be going on now, we should see groups of Pacific loons going north, and a few red-throated loons also mixed in. So all three of those are commonly here at this time of year, and it's too bad we're not out there today looking for them. So get out there and take a look. Actually, Pacific loons come through in flocks, so they should be around now.
Okay, another question being asked. How long is the Woods Nature Trail in Birch Bay State Park? About how much time to budget to go through it, budget time-wise to walk through it?
Well, the nature trail that we took there comes kind of from where the main entrance is. It is not very long. I would say a half an hour to an hour, depending on how much time you want to spend. It's a fairly short walk, but it's also a very interesting one, and everything will be greening up. And the Pacific wrens will be singing this time of year, so it's a great walk.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Here's another question. A viewer wants to know, where do the mallards migrate to during the winter?
Well, many of them are right here. Actually, you could see thousands of mallards out on, if we could get up to Canada on Boundary Bay on the mudflats up there. Mallards are around. A lot of them go further south, so they winter further south. But we've got them here in this marine climate all year round. So they do leave the interior of the country, especially when it freezes up, because they're freshwater birds. They don't stick around for the freezes, but we get a lot of them here, and they're here all year. So if you're at a place that's frozen at this time of year, come on out here and spend part of the winter birding.
Okay, another question. Is there a trail along Terrell Creek the whole way to Lake Terrell?
There is not. There are areas that are in public ownership, but there isn't. There's little pieces you can contact. It'd be nice if there were, but I mean, there's a trail. Geez, and I can't think along the outlet of Terrell Creek. When it comes out of Lake Terrell, there's a piece of fish and wildlife land there that you can walk along a roadway. It's a gated roadway, but it's a very nice walk also on the north end of Lake Terrell.
Great. Do we have any more questions for Paul? Someone mentioned that they counted 21 species that you mentioned in the video, and next time they go to Birch Bay State Park, they'll look around. Thank you for your expert guidance.
Thank you. I never counted it actually, but yes, I wish we'd have seen all those birds that day. I mean, some of them were. When I was doing practices for this, there they were. But that owl that we kept looking for, the barred owls. There's a pair of barred owls at least in the park, and they're often calling back and forth to each other. So get there in the evening sometime, and you should be able to hear them.
Here's a great question. They want to know, where do the brants go in the summer?
Well, they go up to the North Slope, and they're Arctic tundra and esters. East Coast has there's 3 subspecies of brant, and there's the brant on the East Coast. The West Coast bird used to be called the black brant because it's much darker underneath, and there's a gray-bellied brant kind of in the central parts of Canada, and they're all up there in, well, like I said, on Arctic tundra, and they come back and winter on both coasts. So.
Okay, and another viewer is asking, are the owls always in the park?
You know, that's a great question. I think they're there. I think that's their range, and they're there somewhere, but they're not always easy to find. We had a spot where they had been very regularly that Wayne Diaz had sort of staked out, and they had moved away from there, at least the day we were there. But I think they're always in the vicinity.
Okay, another great question. Where is a good spot to see long-tailed ducks?
Well, if you watched the Semiahmoo video that we showed yesterday, Semiahmoo is a good place, especially looking out toward Boundary Bay on the west side of Semiahmoo Spit, or out from the end looking north toward Canada. We've spotted them there quite often. I know we see them often at Sandy Point. Let's see. I don't know if I've ever seen any from Point Whitehorn, from the beach access there, but any of those places, just check. It's handy to have a scope. But actually, a few weeks ago at Semiahmoo, off the pier at the end, there were long-tailed ducks diving and calling right there. Actually, I realized I heard some at this week. I heard some from Point Whitehorn, so they're in the area off of Point Whitehorn too. So anywhere on the marine waters, just check out in the distance, because chances are they're going to be a ways offshore.
Could I add to that, Paul? Do you mind?
Please, no,
about
go
a
ahead.
location. Blaine Harbor at the pier, Jim Jorgensen Pier, right at the end of Blaine Harbor.
You're right.
Cass Marine Park is really a good spot to watch them too. I think Joe Mesh sees them there all the time.
Good.
So, we did tomorrow he's going to be doing a Blaine Harbor virtual walk, which we'll also talk a little bit about that in seeing the long-tailed ducks.
Just a place I forgot to mention. Thank you, Debbie.
That's why I'm here.
I know.
We have time
Keep
for
us on
one
our
more
toes.
question. We have time for one more question, and then we have to wrap up.
Okay.
So we've got a question. Do great blue herons ever nest in the state park?
Oh, there are several different heronries, or heron rookeries, if you will, within a short distance of there. I don't know if they've nested in the park, but there is one right off of Drayton Harbor on the south end of Drayton Harbor, back in the woods, and there's another one off of Robertson Road, I think it is. Back in private property, however. I mean, they're not places you can go. There's actually one out off of Haxton Way out on Gooseberry Point too. So there's quite a few places, as well as the heronry in Fairhaven, or on the Edgemore, on the edge of Bellingham. So they're around.
And just one other person was asking about bald eagles in the Birch Bay Semiahmoo area, and I can certainly say yes, I see them every morning driving to work, and this is probably the best time of year to look at them, Paul, or what?
Well, it's a good time. They're breeding right now, and so our local breeders will be at this point. They could be sitting on eggs already at this point. So.
Great. Well, we need to wrap up for today. Sorry to cut. I didn't mean to cut you off, Paul. We do need to wrap up, but we want to also let our viewers know that at 2:30 there's the introduction to birding with Paul and Pam Borso. How to identify common backyard birds. It is a Zoom meeting that needs pre-registration, so hopefully you do have that. You were given that in an email today. So if you have a chance to check that out, that'd be great. We want to thank you for joining us today. And Paul, thank you so much for that great walk and for your expertise and for taking the time to answer questions.